What's good, YouTube? Welcome back. Today it is Lazy Daze Tubby, and I'm back at it again doing some more history reaction for you guys today on my solo channel. And we are doing some Kings and Generals content for you. And we're going to be starting the Caesar, Gallic War and Civil War series. I'm really looking forward to finding out what happens in this. In this episode we have part 1. If you haven't already, please head over to Kings and Generals page. A link will be in the description box down below. I'm looking forward to finding out what happens more with Caesar. I know a bit about him already, but I'm really just looking forward to finding out more what happens in detail. So if you guys are looking forward to my reaction and enjoying this series, then like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. But we are just going to jump straight into this one. Okay.
The Gauls were one of Rome's oldest and most bitter enemies. They had sacked Rome and throughout the centuries fought alongside the Republic's most dangerous adversaries, including Pyrrhus and Hannibal. By the end of the 2nd century BC, southern Gaul was largely subdued. However, there was still tension in northern Gaul, particularly along the Rhine.
Okay.
These tensions would ultimately climax in the Gallic Wars, the conflict that would shape the future of Western Europe for centuries to come, giving rise to the Holy Roman Empire and modern-day France. The conflict that would forever etch the name Gaius Julius Caesar in the annals of history. Rome had been rocked by almost half a century of civil wars, and the Republic was in decline.
Okay, so obviously, yeah, starting when
Both
it was
Marius
the Republic,
and Sulla
and we're quite small of a state.
Highlighting the ineffectiveness of the system for maintaining a large empire, and the fact that the legionaries were more loyal to their generals than to the state. Following this chaotic period, 3 men had established an unofficial alliance to effectively control the Republic. This was the first triumvirate, consisting of the famous general Pompey the Great, the richest man in Rome, Crassus, and Julius Caesar. Caesar had been consul the year before in 59 BC, but his political campaigning had left him in debt and made him many enemies in Rome. He needed to make money fast and gain enough military success to keep his political adversaries at bay. When the time came for distributing provinces for Caesar to govern as proconsul, he was able to use his political allies to secure Cisalpine Gaul, Illyricum, and Transalpine Gaul for an unprecedented 5 years. This put Caesar in control of 4 veteran legions, the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, all of whom had fought with Caesar before in Hispania and were loyal to him. They had a total of roughly 22,000 legionaries, plus auxiliaries.
Yeah, that's a problem. Loyal to him and not the state is a problem.
Legionaries, plus auxiliaries. Caesar now had the men he needed. All he needed was an excuse for war. Fortunately for Caesar, a Celtic tribe, the Helvetii, was planning a migration into Gaul in 58 BC. Their leader, Orectorix, had formed a confederation with a number of neighbouring tribes, the Tulingi, Latubrigi, Rauraki, and Boii, and now they numbered 368,000 men, women, and children.
That's a lot.
Orectorix had even convinced them all to burn their homes in order to leave no option of failure.
That's commitment. That is fucking commitment.
However, soon he was accused of being a tyrant and was forced to commit suicide.
What? What?
Being a tyrant and was forced to commit suicide. Command passed to Divico. Divico was determined to stick to the plan and began amassing supplies in order to start pouring into Gaul. To do this, they would either have to pass through the land of the Roman ally Aedui and the province of Transalpine Gaul, or take the longer route through the mountain passes in the north. The Romans had built up a healthy fear of migrating tribes following the Cimbrian War in 113 to 101 BC, and so Caesar, hearing of this, was only too willing to come to the rescue of the Aedui. He took the only available legion in the area and force-marched them up to Geneva, destroying the bridge on the Rhone that provided access into Transalpine Gaul.
Okay,
The Helvetii appealed to Caesar, asking for military access through Roman lands and promising they would not attack. Caesar played for time, pretending to consider this offer for almost 15 days. Using this time, his legion was able to construct a fortified embankment almost 5 meters high, stretching 20 miles along the riverbank.
No way! No goddamn way. How long? In 15 days!
Using this time, his legion was able to construct a fortified embankment almost 5 meters high, stretching 20 miles along the riverbank. With the legion manning the embankment and now in a stronger position, Caesar denied the Helvetii access and refused to allow them to cross. Some of the Helvetii ignored this and attempted to cross nonetheless in small boats, but were prevented from doing so by the legionaries throwing javelins and shooting arrows into them. With the southern route thus blocked, the Helvetii decided to take the longer northern route through the mountains into Gaul. Leaving his top lieutenant, Labienus, in command, Caesar returned to Italy to levy a further 2 legions and to pull the other 3 veteran legions out of their winter quarters in Aquileia, bringing his total to approximately 33,000 legionaries plus auxiliaries. Despite Labienus being in a strong position to easily block the mountain pass, the Helvetii managed to push into Gallic territories and began ravaging the land. The Gauls pleaded with Caesar to intervene and chase the Helvetii out, and Caesar, yet again, was only too willing to help, marching his legions into the Gallic territories. The decision of Labienus to not hold the Helvetii in the mountains was likely an order received from Caesar. The Celts were now in open terrain, which better suited the Roman legions,
okay, that makes
their pillaging
sense.
of Gaul gave Caesar an excuse to intervene.
Yeah, so he was like, just let him pillage, let him not stay in the like, don't hold him off, and then that way it gives me an excuse to come in. Very smart by Caesar, very smart.
Word reached Caesar that the Helvetii were currently attempting a crossing at the Arar River. They had been crossing in 4 large groups, using many rafts and boats, but due to the size of the horde and their lack of organization, the crossing had already taken them days, and one group was still yet to cross. Caesar took his legions and swiftly marched to the river. Quickly forming his legions into battle formation, Caesar fell upon the Celts waiting to cross. Caught unaware, unprepared, and encumbered by their baggage, the Helvetii did not even have enough time to form a proper battle line.
Oh
The
no,
fighting
that's
was
a
over
massacre.
quickly, with the whole stranded group being killed or fleeing into the nearby woods, whilst the other 3 groups could do nothing but watch helplessly from the other side of the river. The main Helvetii force began to move on, and not wanting to lose the initiative, Caesar quickly built a bridge across the river and moved all of his 6 legions across. The crossing that had taken the Celts 20 days had taken the Romans just 1.
No way. No way. Caesar literally was able to get all of his he does have less legions, but he has the auxiliaries. I want to know how many men Caesar had compared to the Celts, because the Celt tribes had around 330,000, I think it said earlier on, so they might have lost people, but it all depends on how many auxiliaries, or did he just need to get the legions across, I guess, so he could have just done that in a day, built it. That's so impressive. That's so impressive. That's so impressive. Just one day was able to get across.
Caesar began tailing the Helvetii, waiting for the right time to strike.
No, he's literally brought everyone along in one day. That's
there were a few minor
insane.
cavalry skirmishes, but nothing decisive. Caesar did once manage to find a battlefield that was advantageous, and even had Labienus in position behind the enemy. However, due to poor communication from his scouts, Caesar was forced to pull back from the battlefield. This caused a delay in Caesar's plan, and he was beginning to run low on rations. He decided to head for the nearby town of Bibracte to resupply his army before continuing the pursuit. As he began to march off, however, Divico gave chase, harassing the rear of the Roman army. Caesar sent his cavalry and light infantry to fight a delaying action in order to buy time to deploy his main force on a nearby hill.
Okay.
The 4 veteran legions formed 3 lines at the front, with the 2 newly levied legions, along with the auxiliaries, positioned further up the hill. These men were not tested in battle, and so were not expected to do any of the fighting. Instead, they were to guard the baggage and were spread thin across the hill to seemingly increase the size of Caesar's army. The Helvetii, numbering somewhere between 60 to 90,000 warriors, had successfully fought off the Roman cavalry and light infantry, forcing them to retreat. Now they had formed their infantry into a tightly packed shield wall and advanced on the Romans.
What do we do here?
The front 2 lines of legionaries opened the battle with a volley of javelins. These hampered the Helvetii by becoming stuck in their shields, forcing them to drop them and break into a looser formation. With the shield wall in disarray, the Roman front lines charged into melee. The fighting was intense and tough, but the Romans' discipline and experience gave them the edge. Slowly they began to get the upper hand, with the Helvetii being forced back to a nearby mountain. However, as the Romans pressed up the mountain, a portion of the Helvetii allies, composed of Boii and Tulingi, roughly 15,000 warriors, entered the battle. These men had been acting as a rearguard, protecting the camp, and now they fell on the Roman flank, threatening to encircle them.
They've travelled so much distance and gone up this hill as well. How long was this battle? This is insane. That's one question. Let me know in the comments box down below. Second thing is, this is not looking good now.
The Helvetii, bolstered by the arrival of their allies, began pushing back with renewed vigour. With the 2 front lines of legionaries already engaging the Helvetii on the mountain, Caesar committed his final line of veterans, which had been acting as a reserve. After hours of hard fighting, the Helvetii on the mountain were eventually broken and forced from the battle. However, the Boii and Tulingi fell back to the camp to make a last stand. Using their baggage wagons, they formed a makeshift rampart and continued the fight, hurling missiles down into the Roman ranks. This is where the fighting was the most difficult, as the Boii were famed warriors and fought desperately. Finally, after fighting long into the night, the 3rd line was able to break into the camp, ending the battle.
Wow.
The battle had lasted almost 12 hours.
12 hours of fighting, man. And you've had to travel for so long with all those weapons, so much. Breaks my little mind, guys. Breaks my little mind what these human beings had to do and what they put their bodies through.
Caesar had lost perhaps 5,000 men, whilst the Helvetii had lost around 40 to 60,000.
Those numbers, those difference in numbers is insane. Shows you like well-trained, trained men that are just so much better, and disciplined people are so much better than people just people fighting uncoherently, you know.
Of the 368,000 people who began the migration, only 130,000 were now left. Caesar, with no cavalry to speak of, was not able to give chase immediately, and gave his men 3 days in order to recover from the battle before starting the pursuit. The Helvetii...
I think that was good. Let him rest. If you had the cavalry, then yeah, you could have gone straight after, but You know, if you don't let your men rest, the fact there's only 120 to 130,000 of the Celts left is insane.
Seeing the Romans chasing them once more, surrendered completely and were forced to return to their homeland and made a vassal of Rome, acting as a buffer between Roman and Germanic lands. Caesar had achieved his aim.
Wow, you burnt all your homes and everything to then go somewhere else and migrate. You've had to go back, and now you're a part of Rome. I feel for him.
Of gaining a swift military victory, and for now he would be able to hold off his political enemies in Rome. Furthermore, the Romans had now shown themselves to be a powerful force in the Gallic theatre. After his victory, Caesar rested in Bibracte for a short time before moving on. Rumour had already reached him of a Germanic tribe that had crossed the Rhine and was terrorizing Gaul. The Gallic Wars were just starting, and in our future videos we will talk more about them, so make sure you are.
I am definitely looking forward to finding out more, and obviously if you aren't subscribed to Kings in General, head over to his page. A link will be in the description box down below. I really enjoyed that. I really like Caesar. I like where we're starting off, and I'm definitely looking forward to finding out some more about this time period in history and about his feats in it. And obviously this is just going to be sort of covering the Gallic Wars and the Civil War. So if you guys are looking forward to finding out more and my reaction to this, then like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. But I am just going to catch you in the next video.